Hello friends, I hope you're doing well and welcome back to another day of Vlogmas. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different and just play around with some makeup. I used to play around with makeup all the time and I'm not necessarily the best at it. I wouldn't consider myself a beauty guru, but I used to play around with makeup all the time. It was so much fun and I haven't done that in ages. Literally since I started my YouTube channel, which is almost a year ago at this point. So today I'm gonna go for a bit of a holiday Christmassy themed makeup look so we can just play around, have some fun, relax, enjoy it, and I hope that you choose to stick around and watch it. So Black Friday was recently, and for this video I went and I purchased this eyeshadow palette, which is the ELF eyeshadow palette Haute Chocolate Eyes Sugar Cookie. This is what it looks like in the packaging. The packaging is very fun. It's kind of iridescent, holographic. It looks very cool underneath the studio lights. I swatched it when I first got it, but I haven't put it on my eyes yet, so I'm very excited about it. This is what it looks like up close, and without the cover on, you can see that I did swatch them. So I'm gonna zoom you in really close and personal so you can see my face, and we'll start on the makeup. So I have my makeup bag here. I'm just gonna go digging in here, find the things that I want. A lot of my makeup is dirty because I keep it in this bag and I don't ever wipe it down. So I apologize if it's not as pretty as all the other beauty gurus. I'm not a beauty guru. I'm just having some fun. But the first thing that I'm going to use is the Dawn Patrol Classic Primer. I have never used this before and you can tell that it's been sitting at the bottom of my makeup bag for ages because just haven't used it. It's like a clear kind of gel consistency. It's fragranced. I don't really know how to describe that smell. It just smells like a hair product. That's the only way I know how to describe that. Like something you would put in a hair, like a pomade or oil or something. So then I'm going to use the L'Oreal Lumi Glow Natural Glow Enhancer in Light Glow 902. I'm gonna put like a pea-sized amount on my hand and rub that into my skin. It looks a little bit insane right now, but it'll look better with everything on, I promise. I do this all the time. So next I'm gonna focus on my eyebrows. I have been trying something new. When I ordered the eyeshadow palette, I also ordered this ELF eyebrow pencil. It is the Instant Lift Eyebrow Pencil in Natural Brown. I've been using this to fill in the tail ends of my eyebrow and then using a smaller, slightly lighter eyebrow pencil to fill in the rest of it. So I'm going to comb them down and then use this to go on the top and through the tail. I like doing my eyebrows first because that way I can carve them out, and if I mess up I can just redo it really quickly. So for the front of my brow, I'm gonna go in with this NYX eyebrow pencil. It is the Professional Makeup Micro Brow Pencil. I think in taupe, I can't remember. Yeah, taupe. And I'm gonna put this on specifically the very beginning of my brow. It's slightly lighter than that other color and it's much more precise. And I'm doing really short strokes on this front part. Comb that through, blend it a little bit, do it to the other side. So then I'm gonna go in with the Essence Make Me Brow in taupe, and this is a brow mascara. This helps your eyebrows stay in place and then kind of lightens, highlights little parts of your brow, so it kind of gives a little bit more dimension in your brow, which is kind of nice. I like that about it. And this one is significantly cheaper than the other ones I've seen, and it works just as well in my opinion. I really have enjoyed it. So next I'm going to use this Revlon Candid Concealer, the shade 5 Fair Clair. I'm going to put that on this brush and carve out my eyebrows, clean them up a little bit, make sure that they are nice and precise. Wonderful. At this point I don't really use foundation. If you can't tell, I don't really have any blemishes on my skin, and for the most part I'm only trying to cover my under eyes and then the redness around my nose, and I found that my skin stays clear if I don't wear foundation and it breaks out if I do. So I've stopped wearing foundation and I just use concealer mostly. Even when I'm doing a glam look, the only time where I wear foundation is if I'm performing, and I haven't done that in ages. So not really worried about performing anymore. I'm gonna drag this kind of far down just because I'm not wearing foundation. When I am wearing foundation, I do not wear this much concealer. You don't need this much concealer when you wear foundation, in my opinion. I'm going to use significantly more because it's also kind of replacing that foundation, and just gonna put that on any blemishes that I have. So now that I look crazy, I'm going to take a foundation brush. This one is from Real Techniques. The rest of them, no idea where they're from, but this one is from Real Techniques. And then I'm going to blend that out really thoroughly down my face, starting at the bottom and then spreading it less as I get to the top. If I want it really concentrated in one spot like a zit, then I'll tap it rather than blending it out really intensely. And that way it just softens the edges and it stays on top of that zit. So once that is thoroughly blended, I'm going to use the Coty Airspun Loose Setting Powder. This is in translucent. Yep, in translucent. And then this kind of fluffy brush, which reminds me of an eyeshadow brush, is from Real Techniques. It's called the Setting Brush. And I'm going to set anywhere that I just put that concealer, and then anywhere else I'm not going to put powder. But I'm just going to take that and put it underneath my eye, on my eyelid, down in these nose creases, any of those blemishes. Make sure that that concealer isn't going anywhere. I'm going to make sure that there's no excess by continuing to blend it and flicking it off, because I don't want it to look cakey. This is how I've prevented it from looking cakey in any pictures or videos that I'm taking, and just in person as well, because I find that a lot of the oh my gosh, I am okay. So just spilled a bunch of powder on my pants. I was just gonna tell you that I almost spilled powder and then I actually spilled the powder everywhere. What I was saying is that I find that a lot of the beauty guru techniques with like the baking and the setting and then having a bunch of powder underneath your eyes and dusting that away, I find that that looks really cakey in person. It looks great on camera, it looks great under studio lights, but it doesn't look great in person. I've tried it before. When I was in choir, we did a lot of really fun performances where we would dance around and do sets. So I used those techniques when I was doing that because I was under stage lights, but I don't like how it looks in person, so I don't really do it in person. That's my personal preference. If you like it, don't worry about it. You can absolutely do it. So now that my room is thoroughly covered in a thin layer of powder, I'm going to move on. I'm using a big fluffy brush. This one is from Eco Tools, and my unmarked bronzer. Don't know where this is from. It was a gift, came unmarked. I have no idea what it is or what shade it is, but I'm gonna use it lightly right on the tops of my temples and use it where I would like to warm my face up. I use it where the sun would naturally hit my skin. I see a lot of people like contouring with it, and the thing is that bronzer is warm, and so I personally don't think it makes a very good contour, because contour is supposed to replicate shadows and shadows are cool toned, so I don't know why you would use a warm toned product to try and make a shadow. So I don't, and I don't honestly ever contour because I don't ever feel the need to contour. I don't really like how it looks on my face, so I don't ever contour. I'm now using the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in Party with 3 A's. I'm going to use this shorter brush from Eco Tools, dab that in really lightly, tap the excess off on my hand, and then put it, because I have a round face, right here on my cheeks. I don't smile because if you put it here and drop, well, my finger drops with it, so you're putting blush lower on your cheek than you think you are when you smile. So I like to put it exactly where I want it to sit when I have a straight face, because that placement is going to look good if you smile or if you're looking straight on. But if you do it so it looks good when you're smiling, you don't smile, you don't walk around smiling like this all day. So you want to place it where it's going to look good no matter what your face looks like. So if you have a round face, try placing it right here, kind of close to your temple on the side of your cheekbone. I really like how that looks, and then I'll occasionally put a little bit on my nose. Not a lot. I see some people going crazy with it. Personally, I don't really like that look. I like to just go really lightly on my nose to blend together that bronzer that I put on there. Then for highlight, I'm using this kind of a brush, and I'm using this really beaten up Wet n Wild highlighter that I have had for ages. This lid has come off. It's like taped on. I have no idea what the shade is, but it's the pink one. I'm gonna use this on my cheekbones right here. Blend it kind of blown out where the highest points of your face are. Put a little on my chin, a little on my nose, and a little bit on my forehead to bring that light back in, and then I'll do an even more intense highlighter later on. So that is all for the face right now. We're gonna start on the eyes next. The eyes. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to play around, do something a little crazier than I normally do. I'm gonna start by putting this shade in my crease as a transition shade with a kind of fluffier brush. This is one from Eco Tools. It looks like this. And I'm gonna kind of start right here in my eye and then do like circular windshield wiper motions at the same time and blow it out really big. Just make sure there's no harshness, and you want to go in with less at first because you can always build in more, but it's hard to blend a whole bunch of product out at once. I personally do both of my eyes at the same time. I really don't know why so many beauty gurus do the technique where they do one eye and then the other eye. I don't know if that's for the video's sake, but I find it easier to replicate and make sure it's even if I do the same thing at the same time. So if I'm on step 1 on my first eye, then I'll be on step 1 on my second eye. Step 2, same step 2 on the other eye, and that's how I make sure that everything is even, is by doing the same thing at the same time on both eyes. I'm going to go in with the shade right next to it, this one, which is slightly darker, and put that deeper into my crease, more precisely, less blown out, but still very, very blended out. So stick it in and then just kind of rock back and forth. I'm not doing the circular motions because I want it to stay in that crease area. And just keep doing this for longer than you think. I'm then gonna take this deep dark brown shade on this makeup brush. I don't know where this one is from. And take a little tiny bit of it and I'm gonna place that on my outer V. I keep my eye pretty much open, look straight on, tap it like this, and then blend it out in windshield wiper motions, keeping it on the very, very outer edge. I will do this like at the same time, going back and forth between my eyes to make sure it stays even. Now I'm actually going to go back in with this bigger fluffy brush and blend it out because I don't want to keep using that brush, kind of blending it into that crease with it, but not going very far in, stopping at 1/3 of my eye. So it's stopping right here. I'm not going further in like with the other colors. I went all the way to my inner corner. I'm just stopping at the end of that last third so it stays kind of deep in there, and then blending everything out towards the top here so there's nothing that's harsh. So here's where the fun thing goes. I really want to use this green up here. I've never done green in an eye look before, but I think it would be very pretty. So I'm going to take this short little flat brush and I'm going to pack that on my eyelid. Do I want to use concealer first? Okay, pause. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm actually going to go back in with the brush that I used to cut out my eyebrows, this flat one, and my concealer, and I'm going to cut my crease. I'm going to do like a half cut crease instead of a full cut crease. A full cut crease is where you cut all the way back here and through there. I'm going to stop about halfway through and then blend it out to make sure it's nice and harsh, but I like using concealer so that whatever eyeshadow I'm using sticks on. So starting in the corner of my eye, following where my crease is. Don't worry about blending right now, just follow your crease. Or if you have monolids, kind of create a crease. Pat it to make sure it's not wet, but it's still slightly tacky. And then I'm going to kind of blend it out right here and do the same thing to the other side. And if it doesn't come out even, just continue working it until they both are even. So now I'm going to take the flat brush and that green and place that where I just put my concealer and hope that it looks good. I actually am going to use my finger for this instead. So I'm using my finger, putting it in the green and then tapping it on. There's definitely fallout, so that's fun. Be aware of that. So messily I'll put it on and then I'm going to use the flat brush to make it more precise. Then I'm going to use that brush, make that line a little bit more, follow that concealer line, tapping and pushing it in. This way you get the least amount of fallout if you push in rather than slide all around. Then when you get to this last third, stop for now. We're going to revisit that in just a second. So on the other eye, same thing. Tapping along that line of concealer that we put down. The nice thing about the concealer is that it also acts as a guide as to where you want to put this colored eyeshadow. This works with whatever color of eyeshadow you want, whether it's green or cream or gold or purple. This is the technique I use every single time I want to do like a quarter cut crease. For the fallout, which this eyeshadow palette does seem to have, I'm going to go in with the same powder brush that I used to set my concealer and dust it away, kind of flicking it off. You don't want to smear, you don't want to touch it with your hands, just flick it off, push it away very aggressively, and hopefully it won't leave anything left behind. It doesn't look like it is, which is great. That is exactly what we wanted. This is a closer look of what my eyes look like right now. They look a little crazy. I'm aware. We're trusting the process. I've never done anything this kind of bold before. I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna take this eyeshadow brush from Essence. It's just kind of a smaller blending brush. Tap it into very, very lightly that green shade. We're gonna blend that edge out just a little bit. I'm actually even gonna go back in with that dark brown on the same brush that I applied it with. Same thing on the other side, just doing kind of these small tapping motions. So as I'm looking at this, I feel like it's very dark in the inner corner, and that's kind of making my eyes look smaller. So I'm thinking of what color I want to add on top of it. I'm gonna go in with the Champagne Shimmery color on another flat brush like this. I'm gonna pack that onto the brush. You can also use your finger if you'd like. Again, use a different finger. You want it to be clean. Don't use the one that you just put the green on, whatever you do. And then place that on the inner part of the eye, kind of blending together the green and the champagne, just working to bring a little bit more light into this darker green. So starting at the inner corner, follow the same line that you did with the green, but only going 1/3 of the way through. I'm then going to take a short angled brush like this. It's kind of thicker angled brush, and I'm gonna go in with that very first transition shade that we used, this one right here. I'm gonna use that on my bottom lash line, bringing this over until about this point in my eye. I like to do it pretty tight to that lash line. I don't like smoking it out too terribly much. So I'm going to use that second shade that we used, this one right here, and put that on the very outer edge of that lower lash line. Once again, connecting it to that last outer corner bit that we laid down. So I'm then going to bring even more light into my inner corner using this white shade in the palette on a very small pencil brush. This is what it looks like. It's very thin and tiny into the inner corner of my eye. I'm then also going to bring that white shade in the outer corner of my eyebrow. It's kind of like an iridescent. It has like a purpley blue tone to it. I don't know if you can see that. Underneath my eyebrow, on my brow bone, on the tip of my nose, just a little bit on my tip of my nose, down the bridge of my nose very thinly on my cupid's bow. I'm not going to add liner because I don't want to close off my eye anymore, but I am going to curl my eyelashes and add a nice thick coat of mascara. I'm using the Revlon eyelash curler, this one here, and very gently going to just curl my eyelashes. And I'm going to use the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara in Blackest Black. That's right, yep, Blackest Black. And I do mascara on both my top and my bottom lashes. Be careful not to get any mascara on your eyeshadow, but if you do, let it dry and then you can pick it off really easily, but do not try to remove it while it's wet if you get it on your eyeshadow. Or on your face for that matter. And on my lower lashes. That's what that looks like. With mascara, without mascara. I really like this green because it brings out the bluey greens in my eyes. If you have any green in your eyes, this will really pop it out. So I'm gonna do another coat of mascara after I do lips, but I want to do lips now. So when I do an intense eye, I do a really light lip, like a neutral lip. If you're doing an intense lip, you want to do a more neutral eye. I just feel like an intense lip and intense eye, it's just very, very dramatic and over the top. If you're like me and you're not going for a super, super dramatic look and you're just going for like glam on either your eyes or either your lips, then just pick one and go for it. If I'm wearing a red lip, I will do very basic eyes. If I'm doing eyes that are dramatic like this, then I'll do a more basic lip. So this is totally rubbed off, but it's the Milani lipstick in the shade Honey Rose 84. I personally don't overline my lips. If you would like to, you totally can, but I don't choose to. I also don't really use a makeup brush for my lipstick unless I'm doing red lipstick, because red lipstick, if you are outside of the lines, you can totally tell. Red lipstick is a dangerous game to play if you don't know how to play it. And then in the center, I'm going to use the Hemp's Make Out lipstick in, doesn't have a label, but it's a really nice pale pink. And I'm just going to push that in the center. This is the color of it. It's kind of melted, but I'm just going to put that in the center and bring a little bit more light to the middle of my lips. And to top it off, I'm going to use a little bit of the NYX Butter Gloss in Bit of Honey. How fitting. And then to prevent it from getting on your teeth, stick your finger in your mouth. And the lipstick that would have gotten on your teeth is now on your finger, which is a better place because now you can knowingly wash that off. I'm now going to do some poses to try and show off my makeup. I don't know how it's gonna turn out because I'm not a beauty guru and it might be really awkward, but here you go. So there you go, my first ever and maybe even last ever makeup tutorial. It was really fun to play around with some colors that I don't normally play around with, like the green. Ideally, I would go for an even lighter lip, an even more neutral lip, but I don't have a lipstick that's even more neutral than this. So just imagine it with a slightly more neutral lip, and that is a look that I would really like. I think this would be very beautiful with some eyelashes, but I don't have any, and I don't really go for eyelashes, but if you want to add some fake eyelashes, I think this would look so good. If you want to try it out, let me know, and then either send me a picture or DM me a picture of you trying this out on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram tag here. It's also always linked down below if you want to follow me. You do not have to, but you are more than welcome to. But with that, you have reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe so that you can stick around and see more content like this and the other content that I post. And with that all being said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.